So, welcome everybody to DrSwiss Moto. Today we are here at RIBE with my good friend Tsering,
David.
one of the founders of RIBE. And tell us a bit about yourself. How did your motorcycle journey started?
Gladly, and I have to excuse already for my voice being very shivery because we're in a hall in the RIBE Shack in Uetikon am See. That's a little town besides the Zurich Lake, and it's freezing, right? It's quite yeah. So I'm already excusing myself for my shivery voice. David, thank you very much for visiting us and for being part of the tribe. Uh,
My
Really
pleasure.
cool. And yeah, I'll gladly tell about myself. So where to start? Let's start with me and motorcycling. Maybe it's always been a great passion of mine. Just being a young boy, being fascinated of motorcyclists. The whole spirit that comes with it. It always fascinated me. That kind of lone rider style, a cool motorcyclist, getting off his nice bike and um, kind of that lone wolf kind of thing fascinated me. I always found it really cool, and I always wanted to be a motorcyclist. Cars never really interested me. I was never into cars, but bikes was my world, and I loved it since a very early age. And yeah, so with about 19, 20 around, I made my motorcycle license, the driving license, um, and have been a motorcyclist, a passionate motorcyclist ever since. My first bike was a Buell I don't know, XB9SX, something like that. I'm not even sure.
So you started over here.
Yeah, but it was I don't know how you call it in English, a drossel.
Oh yeah, it's like here in Switzerland we have two types of like you can have the motorcycle like full on full power from factory, but if you are too young you have to have it like it's like a it's down it's tuned down
Yeah.
from what you usually get from factory to I think 50 brake horsepower. I think it's the max you can have till you are like 21 or 25 or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
yeah, right.
makes sense
Yeah,
if you think about it, but if you're sitting there and having to ride it, then it doesn't make any sense.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And, well, for me, it absolutely made sense because I was going wild on the bike, and I think it's good that you don't get the full power. Um, yeah, so I started with a Buell. Was really happy with it. I had to sell it because of money reasons, which was really tough. Sold it to a garage, and I saw it drive away with a guy drive away with my bike, and I had tears in my eyes. It was really emotional, the first bike. And then after that, I bought later on, I think it was a Moto Guzzi,
All right.
7 Stone, and sorry, Moto Guzzi, if you're watching this, but I wasn't really unhappy with it. It was a really crappy bike, and I didn't enjoy it at all. It looks nice, but
It's Italian.
well, I must say, like, if you compare it with Ducati, and they
Yeah.
make amazing bikes, but Moto Guzzi, maybe I got a bad, how do you say, a batch, so it was quite a new model from that, how do you say, from that make, and yeah, I was really unhappy with it, and after on, I said, come on, I need to get something with more quality, and I was always a big fan of BMW motorcycles, and I always loved the R9T model because you could do so many custom stuff with it. And then I bought R9T Racer um, 2017 edition, and it was, yeah, I have it since then, and I did a lot of it, a lot of custom build on it, and yeah, that's what I like. I love like I'm into coffee racers and stuff. I love
Yeah,
that.
I
So.
can see that from you didn't like deviate too much from
Yeah, right.
you always stayed like on that like naked going
Yeah.
into cover racer style bike. Yeah. Yeah, but with Moto Guzzi, you also have to think probably, maybe I'm just talking crap, it's also like a smaller manufacturer,
Mhm.
so they don't have probably as much possibilities of really going into like what happens after a million miles
Yeah.
on the bike. So
Which is
they,
a shame, right? Because Moto Guzzi was like back then it was the bike.
yeah,
Like I think it was like the Ferrari under the bikes. Like of my parents, you know, the time of my parents, Moto Guzzi was like the bike.
yeah.
So it's quite a shame. What I was really disappointed back then.
I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes it's also psychological. We think about something as not being that good
Hmm.
because I also had like, for instance, with Royal Enfield, I
Hmm.
always thought like, oh, it's unreliable, like
Okay.
it's not going to be
Yeah.
good. But then I really started looking into it because of a friend of mine, and then I was like, oh, wait a second, like there are people doing around the world on Himalayans
Hmm.
in India. Everybody's like riding around on these bikes and
Hmm.
having no problems at all. And then I really started looking at them, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, I was wrong. These are actually good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But with Moto Guzzi, it was never really in my radar
Hmm.
for a bike, to be honest. I never, for the Italians, it was always like Ducatis.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always thought about, but I always thought about Ducatis also as a beautiful centerpiece to have inside of my
Yeah.
house
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
instead of riding it for some reason.
Yeah.
For some reason, they are beautiful.
Hmm.
But yeah, Moto Guzzi, no, I never thought about that.
No, and I think well, like there's also other cool brands, you know, that are coming up, like Benelli, for an
Yeah,
example. I think they're the most sold bikes, the adventure bike they have from Benelli in Italy. It's like the most sold. I'm not sure how the model is called, but it's the most sold bike in Italy. It's like a BMW GS just from Benelli,
okay.
and
They look
yeah,
great as well.
they look amazing,
They look amazing.
absolutely. And we actually have a partnership with them right now with RIBE.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get to RIBE maybe later. Yeah, and that's why I'm not like against Italian bikes at all, you know. But just the Moto Guzzi, the 5.7 Stone I got back then was just a piece of shit. Yeah.
I was always on the Japanese side of things,
Okay. Yeah.
always with Honda. Like, then I bought my first foreign bike,
Hmm.
be it the Triumph Tiger,
Yeah.
and it was funny because I had it for like 3 days
Hmm.
and it wouldn't start.
Okay.
And in my head, I was like, "Welcome to welcome to English bike ownership."
Okay.
I was like, "Fuck!" Like 3 days. Come on, guys.
Hmm.
But then I took like I opened it all up. I changed a couple things. It
Yeah.
started working again till now.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. But it
Okay.
really was like funny, and I remember I went to the Stelvio with it, and
Hmm.
coming down there was a guy with an old Triumph car
Okay.
on the side of the road
Oh,
with the
amazing.
bonnet
Yeah.
up open,
Yeah.
and I stopped next to him, and I was like, how is British car ownership going for you? And he was like, oh, I think something with the pump. I was like, I'm gonna make
Okay.
fun of you because I'm riding a Triumph bike, so
Yeah.
I don't know how long I have
Okay. Got it.
until I'm next to you sitting on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So, but it gives it that, because I must say, like I've been riding Hondas and they are amazing.
Hmm.
Nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
But there is some excitement to be had
Yeah.
when you're not completely sure
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're gonna make it. Like, if you know, like as I always did, like, oh, I know I can get there and back, and
Hmm.
it's not an issue. But if you go out of your house already planning on what am I gonna do when it explodes or catches on fire,
Yeah.
then there is that.
That adds on top of the
Yeah,
excitement, right? It's
you're
like
just like, this is gonna be great.
right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah. I get that.
And at
Yeah.
the end, if it catches on fire, you're sitting there like, I knew it. I knew it was gonna happen. You just have a laugh, take a picture.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. That was actually with my Buell. It was a bit that way because Buell they're not produced anymore. No, wrong. I think they're making actually a new one. Not sure. Um, but with the Buell, it was that way. It's like a Harley Sportster motor
All
or
right,
engine built in. Um,
didn't know that.
yeah, and it's
So it's worse than I thought.
No, and it was just an amazing bike. But when something happened, you knew that parts could be hard to get.
Yeah.
So kind of.
The funny thing is in my garage, it's not as big as this one,
Mhm.
but I had two of my Hondas in there, and I opened the door, I come in, and it always smelled the same.
Mhm.
And now with the Triumph, it always smells like if the bike was running the entire night
Oh, really?
before I got there. It always smells like oil. It
Yeah.
always smells like fuel. It's just like very strange.
Yeah.
I get into the garage and I always have this smell of fresh rubber.
Okay.
Like, was the bike out? Like,
But
what's happening in here? Like, she was losing fuel and oil
Yeah.
without me even touching the things. Something's up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is not normal.
But good, right? So I love the smell of
Oh,
it.
it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die very early because of all the chemicals I sniff. But it's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
really love it. It's like with the old timer that I restored. Like we were painting it, doing it all like inside of the garage with the doors closed in the winter.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Amazing. Love it. Love it.
fresh smell of fumes in the morning.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think I need to spill some more oil here. It doesn't smell enough.
you need more Italian bikes in
More.
you,
We have a
you
Triumph there.
you have a Tiger right there,
Yeah,
so it should like if you close the doors, it should smell.
yeah. But I think it's just too, it's too big, probably.
But
It's
that's a
too-
cool thing,
yeah,
actually. Like because of that, I now know how a Triumph smells. Like
yeah.
if ever somebody loses a Triumph,
You can smell it.
you can call me. I'll come by. I'll find you your Triumph. I'm like a dog.
Yeah,
Like my ears come
rescue
up.
dog.
I know
Yeah.
exactly where where the Triumph is. No, that's some cool bikes to have as first bike. Like my first bike was a scooter.
Yeah.
It was a Peugeot Ludix 50 in baby blue,
Okay.
and it was just horrible.
Yeah, it sounds horrible. Yeah.
It was, so so my dad bought that bike
Yeah.
for my mom.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
idea
Hmm.
was like, oh, I'm gonna buy this scooter that David can drive, but also my wife can eventually learn how to drive. So he bought the most feminine thing in the world.
Okay. Yeah.
Thing is, my mom never did
Yeah.
learn how to drive, and
What a
then
shame.
I
Yeah.
had it, and
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
amazing. I
Yeah.
did off road with it. I did my first wheelies with it.
Yeah.
My first accidents, my first near death experience, everything was in a
Yeah.
Peugeot Ludix. But yeah, I looked up to those guys with those scooters with the WRX liveries on it and
Yeah.
all, and I was like with my little scooter, "Oh, I wanted something like that." But
Well, yeah.
nowadays, we were at the Moto Festival last weekend,
Right.
and I saw the amount of absolutely amazing looking 125 bikes that are
Hmm.
out there
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like those Brixtons that
Yeah.
you can
Right.
get,
Yeah.
like some new brands like Mash and stuff
Hmm.
that you can get, and they all look absolutely like they look like a custom cafe racer
Yeah.
style bike. It's just impressive. And
Absolutely.
you look at the prices, pretty much the same and sometimes even cheaper than a scooter.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself like, why am I not 16 right now?
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
would be the coolest guy at school instead of this dorky guy with a baby blue scooter. Like for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Horrible.
That's true. Yeah. I noticed that as well. Some really, really, really nice bikes. Absolutely really reasonable for a really good price.
Yeah.
Not sure on the quality though. Don't have any experiences. Maybe viewers, you can share some experience with Mesh and Brixton. Would be wondering to know. But they look amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they really look the business,
Yeah,
but yeah, let's see how they drive.
yeah,
Which leads me to my next thing we're gonna talk about, which is RIBE.
yeah.
Because as luck would have it, if we want to try out a lot of bikes and see what's what, etc., you and your two buddies came out with the best idea in the world
Oh wow.
for that, I would say.
Wow. So you built quite something up there.
So I put it here.
Yeah.
So now you have to.
Okay, I'll try to get there. Well, no, I'm going to put the level down a bit. I think the idea itself isn't new, right? So for maybe guys that don't, people out there who don't know what RIBE is. RIBE is basically Airbnb for motorcycles. So it's motorbike sharing. So if you own a motorbike, and unfortunately you don't get to ride enough, that's one case. You can rent it out on our platform RIBE. So in just a few clicks, a few steps, you can upload your bike, and you have fully comprehensive insurance with that. So you can rent it out, and if something happens, you're safe through our amazing insurance partner Helvetia, which is a Swiss insurance. So that's just like the basic concept of RIBE. So from the idea, it's not something new, I would say, but it just didn't really exist for motorcycles, at least here in Europe. There are some I would say players out there like Rideshare, for an example. There are a few, but I think in the DACH region we're probably the only big players really doing this. So yes, so we started actually with RIBE. We started with the motorcycle in a subscription-based model, meaning that you could rent a bike and pay on a monthly lump sum. You could pay like say 600 Swiss franc, and you had a bike for long-term rental. So all you had to do is pay 600 Swiss franc per month, and then you could ride a bike as long as you want. So like subscription for a bike, and everything included: the insurance, the service, the maintenance of the bike, tires, etc., was all included in that price. And we had our own little fleet, so we took money out of our pockets, we bought some bikes, and then we rented it out on the subscription-based model. And then we realized that it's very capital intense of having a fleet. So looking at the scalability of the business model, it was very capital intense. So for us to grow that thing would have cost us a lot of money.
And cut. So we are back because firstly I am an idiot and my camera said goodbye at 19 minutes and he is not wearing a jacket.
Yes,
so
because
even if I wanted to like play it out as if it was nothing, now we have a problem.
And I'm not as hard as you. I had to put it on a jacket. I'm freezing, man.
Nah, I'm a man.
Okay.
I'm freezing. No, so yeah, we were talking about the model, how you guys started with having to have a fleet and all that, and then it all changed into the model you guys have now.
Right.
So you want to elaborate on that again?
Yeah, gladly. No, where to start? We had the subscription model exactly, and the thing was with the subscription model, because we bought the bikes ourselves, it was very capital intense. So we would have had to invest millions to make this like a big thing, a big business. So then we sat together, we brainstormed, we thought of, what else can we do?
You can turn on the mics. That's the first one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is it on?
Is it on?
Okay. Okay.
Probably cut out with the camera.
No, exactly. So the subscription model, very capital intense. We would have had to invest a lot of money to make this thing fly. So then we sat together, we brainstormed, and then we came up with the sharing business model. Because a lot of bikes, or I would say most of the bikes, are not moved enough. So for an example, in Switzerland, the average motorcycle owner makes around 2,500 kilometers per year. So that's nothing. Like the bike stands in the garage most of the time, which is a shame.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we thought of, hey, why not monetize standing times? That's a cool business model. That's a cool case, because bikes are here to be moved, to be driven, to be enjoyed. And then we thought of, okay, why not use these resources that are just standing around most of the time and, you know, build a sharing platform. And that's what we do since 1 year now. Yeah.
No, that's a great idea, because as you say, like most bikes, they just stand.
Yeah.
And you can say, yeah, but on the weekends I want to ride it. Yeah, but do you ride it every weekend?
Yeah.
And if you only ride it on the weekend, like what is the bike doing from Monday to Friday?
Yeah.
Like there are people out there that can ride during the week, or they have jobs that permit that. So it does make a lot of sense, like to have your own bike, just rent it out during those times where you aren't using it.
Yeah.
And the way you guys do it, I think it's perfect, because everyone I talked about it with always brought up the insurance, like, oh, well, how is it insured, like when something happens? And when you tell them like, oh, it's all like fully insured by us, like your insurance has nothing to do with that, like just gives that extra like, all right. This there are, I would say everybody has probably like a couple of takes you have to take like in their head when they start thinking about like, would I do it? Then you start like, oh, I would do it, but it would have to be insured. Like, think, I would do it, but I would have to say my own price that I want for my bike. Like, tick. Like, I would do it, but I want to be able to say no if necessary. Like, I want to use it on that day, so I cannot rent it out to you. Like, tick. Like, it's. I struggle to find the case. Not against it. Against it is I think a strong word, but the case where you can say like, oh, it doesn't make sense. Because it does. Like it does make a lot of sense. And in the beginning, I also say like, oh, but it's my baby, like it's my bike and all that. But then if you start adding up all the things that are for it, then it starts like coming down. Like you start like thinking, you know what? Actually, it's not a bad thing. Like that's also why I have one of my own bikes on the platform. So
I mean, we have a lot of people being very skeptical in the beginning. You know, saying, "Oh, I would never rent out my bike." You know, renting out your bike is like renting out your wife. Which that kind of comment we get that. It's amazing. It's kind of scary how much we get that. Exactly that in that wording. You know, I'm like. Dude, it's okay, you know, you're having an intense relationship with your bike, cool, but don't look at your wife as an object. You know, we have kind of we distance from that kind of comments.
We are not a spouse sharing platform.
We
are a bike sharing.
Exactly. And but either way, like a woman should never be looked at as an object. So we kind of that comment really, we don't get that. We get so many comments in that way.
But I think that's like the usual comment that people just throw out without even really thinking about it. I think it's one of those phrases that it's just like imprinted in like, let's say 80% of every man. Like when you say like, because I remember hearing like those saying like, even without having something to do with bikes, like, oh, you never give out your toothbrush, your girlfriend, and whatever. Like it was always like, it always had to have that, like the girlfriend or the wife, like thrown in. I think it's to give it like seriousness, like
maybe
like, it's like something you really don't like. It's like I don't think it means like, they don't mean it like harmful, but it's just one of those like, like you are the 400th person that said that. They just you're not funny. It's like I do it when I go shopping and they pass like the articles and it doesn't do the beep. And I stand there and I think I'm the best comedian in the world because I always say like, oh, it's free then, ha ha ha. And I think to myself, oh my god, I'm so funny. That poor girl, man, whoever is there, probably hears that shit every day 20 times over, like to the point where she probably just want to stand up and just club me in the head with something. But it's like one of those like you you don't even realize you said it till you said it because it's so printed in your head.
Yeah, I think it's like, maybe try to use another wording. That would be cool, you know. That would be
another joke.
Yeah,
it's another joke. This one is. It's been used, so don't use this one.
No, and I think, you know, it's totally fine. It's totally cool if you're not comfortable with renting out your bike. That's like, okay, there's many reasons for that, you know. Like maybe you invested a lot of money in your bike, you know, and you're kind of like really emotionally attached to your bike, and that's totally fine, you know. Or if you commute with your bike, you know, you use your motorbike for work.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and that's completely fine, you know. Or no reason at all. You just don't want to rent out your bike. Cool, you know. It's.
But that's also only the one half.
Yeah.
Of what you guys do. Like, all right, it's fair enough. You don't want to rent out your bike.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. We don't even have to. Like, I was with you guys in Germany, and I talked with a lot of people about it. And I know when I lost the fight.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, that's fair enough. You don't want to rent out your bike. That's fair enough. I understand you. I'm a biker myself. I know where you're coming from. But you can go out and rent something different.
Right.
Like if you ride an RC8 all day and you want to do a big tour, you're not going to go on the RC8. Like that's going to be a pain in the ass. Like unless you're like 20, but like if you're aging like like both of us, old men, you start having back pain every time you have to pick up something from the ground. You're like, you know what? I love this bike. I love riding it around the lake. It's amazing, but I want to go for an entire week or for a big weekend down to Italy or whatever. Let's rent out the Tiger. Let's try it out with a Harley. Let's try it out with a cafe racer. Let's try something new out, or just for the heck of it, just like I'm in a bit of a cafe racer mood today.
Yeah.
And to just go out and rent out the cafe racer, like to go to an event.
Yeah.
For instance, you can say, you know what, I want to take part in the gentleman's ride.
Yeah.
But I ride a scooter. That just will be looking weird, which you know, if you want to take part in the gentleman's ride.
One, yeah.
And shouldn't have told them. But yeah, if you want to take part in a event and you don't want to be going with a scooter and suit, which you can, it's perfectly fine unless it's maybe you can always say, you know what, I'm gonna rent out a Triumph or a 9T and just look the part.
Yeah, exactly.
Be part of that and just go out there. Or if you go with your mates and everybody has a racing bike and you have a Tiger and you want to be part of the group, you can rent out something more in a racing style or for whatever reason it is. You will always find like there's, as I said, like you have old-timer bikes with sidecars and you have the newest and greatest even electro motorcycles, so everybody can have their fun.
Right, so it's for everyone, right? So yeah, exactly. So we have the renting out case, you know, people having a bike wanting to rent it out, or you have the rental case which you just elaborated on, right? So we have over 1,300 bikes on our platform, ranging a huge variety, you know, as you said, ranging from old school, old-timer motorcycles to new e-bikes, custom bikes, trikes, quads. We have pretty much everything on the platform. I think we're probably the biggest motorcycle platform in DACH for sure, but in Europe I'm not sure. But I think we're probably one of the bigger players. So in that sense, yes, absolutely. You can find anything for any occasion, bikes. So.
And also, if you want to buy something and you just want to try it out for a longer period of time, it's also a good idea and cheaper than going to the dealership, I would say. And I think I touched on that before, but then I forgot to turn on the camera. But if you go to the dealership and you want to just try the bike out for for the sake of it, just because I want it. I want to try it out. I don't want to buy it. I don't even have money to buy that bike, but I want to try it out. The dealership is always going to be wary unless they know you. Like, they are not going to give out the bike that easy. You're probably going to get a no about it if you're honest with them. So to have the possibility to just do just that for just that, like just renting out the bike just to try it out, that's also a very, very big point, at least for me, because I don't have like the guts to go to a dealership and lie to their faces about, I'm so interested in buying this, can I try it out? And then go through the entire sales pitch, and just that person is doing their job. They're giving out the bike. They will have to clean it afterwards. They're gonna spend their time. They are gonna try and sell you something because that's their job. They are earning money with it, and you're just literally just. I think it's almost disrespectful to them to just make them give out their time like that with zero intent on buying something. So I think that's a very good thing for people like me that just want to try every bike because I'm a child and I want to sit on them all. I want to drive them all, and to just have the possibility of doing that for that, to just go out there, ride them, try them out, give them back. It was great, thank you. Go try something else out. I think that's really good. And all day, like it's not like, all right, take the bike, do a 20-minute loop of the dealership and park it up again. Like,
absolutely. I think it's like today's offering is just connected with a lot of hassle. Like if you want to rent a bike, you go to a homepage of a dealer, which is unfortunately oftentimes is just really old. You know, you don't have an online booking process, so you have to call the dealer, you have to write him an email if the bike is available. You know, and that's just 2000 2008. So we think that it's really important also for the motorcycle industry to become more digital, to become more customer friendly. You know, it needs to be easy to get a bike. With RIBE, you can just, you know, in 4 clicks, you can rent a bike. You're not bound to opening hours. There's no paperwork. You can, you know, get the bike, and we have a digital handover protocol in the app. So you can sign the bike, the protocol on the app, and so it's really simple. And I think that needs to be the case when renting a bike, also with dealers. You know, you want the people to be in your showroom. You want the people experiencing the brand, even if they don't in that first moment want to buy it. But still, you want them to be fans of your brand, right?
Exactly.
So you do that by making it really easy getting to ride the bike, right? So that is also the reason why we have a lot of in Switzerland and Germany, we have a lot of dealers and brands coming to us now. We're in a lot of conversations now because they need help in becoming more customer friendly and digital. That's why they're using RIBE to rent other bikes.
Because you have those ideas of something, like we talked in the beginning about Moto and all that, and like Triumph and stuff like that. And we have always these ideas of like, oh, it's unreliable, or oh, it drives like this or like that. But it's all like things we heard somebody tell us. It's not something that we tried out ourselves. So it's actually in the best interest of everybody to make it accessible to everybody to try it out. So I always hear, like, for instance, the Ducati, like one side I hear talking about how amazing they are and they are actually reliable. The other side tells a completely different story. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what's my opinion? Like, I cannot go to a dealership and say like, oh, can I try it out, so that I can form my own opinion about it. But I don't want to buy it. I just want to. And now I can just go out, rent one out, try it out, and say, you know what, it drives amazing. Like, you can probably you cannot tell the story, the full story probably about reliability and ownership, blah blah, because you're trying it out for a day or a week or however long you want it. But you can get that feel for the bike and see, is this something that I would want to own? because that's a really big issue, because most people that I talk to that don't even ever rode a bike, they have this idea of, oh, I want the Kawasaki Z900. Why? Oh, it's a great bike. Have you ridden it? Oh, no, I haven't, but I heard somebody talk about that.
Or just for 1-2 hours, you know?
Yeah, like, it is a great bike. I'm not saying it's not the case, but it's like, you really need to go beyond just sitting on it, or beyond watching some guy on YouTube talk and tell a story about it, because I can sit on something and tell you like, oh my god, this is the best bike in the world, and you sit on it and you think like, oh, this is crap, this is horrible. Because everybody has a different, like with me, with Frankie, with my 125, if you ask me which bike is the best bike in the world, it's Frankie. It's my 125. I never had so much fun riding that. But if you ride it, you're like, fucking hell. Like, what's wrong with this motorcycle? Like, and you really need to experience it yourself.
Absolutely.
And with RIBE, I really think, and again, I'm kissing your ass, I really think you guys really had an amazing idea and gave every single one of us an amazing opportunity to just go out and just try them out, just take whatever tickles your fancy. Like I'm registered in your website, so I have my own like favorites list of bikes, ever-growing favorites list of bikes, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna take this one out, and this one out, and this one out.
I think that's our claim, right? So our claim is really, we want to make the nicest, the most beautiful hobby in the world. That's the motorcycle, easy, accessible.
Yeah.
Right, it needs to be easy, trying to, as you said, you know, testing a bike is not just 1 hour, 1-2 hours, you know, going to a dealer and just making a quick spin. Testing a bike, really getting to know a bike, you need to have spent some hours on a bike, really, to feel, hey, does this bike suit me? Is this something I want to own, you know? That's just the buying case, you know? So if you want to buy a bike, it's really recommendable that you just spend really days even on the bike to really get a feel for it, right? But also, you know, the thing we talked about before the camera went off was also you know, tourists.
Yeah.
That's also quite a big case for us as well. We had a lot of bookings last year from tourists coming to Switzerland, you know, wanting to experience the beautiful Swiss Alps, which is an absolute must as a motorcyclist. You have to ride the Alps.
That's just fantastic.
It's just breathtaking, right? And
it's the best thing in the world.
And the cool thing is you can do that through RIBE as well. You know, you can rent a bike just, you know, below the mountain where you want to ride, and you're not bound to a dealer, you know, that is far away somewhere in Switzerland. You have to drive to the place. You can ride it. You can rent it right by the mountain you want to ride. So that's also something really cool, right? And then you can just give it back and fly home.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's also really cool.
Or you come to Switzerland, like, car full of family and kids.
Yeah.
There is a day you just want to let them all in the zoo and just take a bike and go ride. You can do that.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not just saying as the dad, by the way, to all you sexists out there, I'm also saying as the mom. She can leave the husband at the zoo and go ride.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's such a great idea. And also, like, if you have like friend group and somebody, like, imagine yourself, like when you sold your bike and your friends went for a ride and you're just standing there, like, you can just say, all right, I sold my bike for whatever reason it was. My friends are all like gonna go for a nice weekend ride. I want to go as well. Just rent on the bike, like, and from the pricing, it's also fantastic. Like you have really cheap, amazing bikes in there, from like cheaper older bikes to like modern expensive bikes. Like, you really have something for everybody, which also I find very important. Like, the amount of bikes I looked at and I was like, it only costs me that much to ride that. I'm like, oh, I want that. Like, thick. So yeah, that's. I think you really tapped into something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we started last year. We're getting amazing responses. It's just been just a blast since last year, and you know the user traction is going up. We see we already have a lot of bikes. As said, you know, just in a very short period of time, many people are willing to rent out their bike, which is really nice. And it just shows, you know, the motorbike community is just the best community out there. You know, it's all about, you know, for me personally, the cool thing about motorcycling is going out together. You know, having a ride with a bunch of people, enjoying just the, you know, the motorcycles and the roads, and sharing the experience is just amazing. You know, and I think with RIBE we enable kind of a more people being able to ride and to enjoy riding motorcycles, and that is just beautiful. And also one of the nicer things we got last year was a guy calling us and saying, "Hey guys, I'm really thankful for RIBE, because through RIBE I didn't have to sell my bike. I could keep my hobby."
Yeah, that's good.
That was like really one of the nicest things we heard, because I told you earlier I had to sell my Buell because of money reasons, and for me that was just heartbreaking. Really, that was a really kind of touchy moment for me, and I think it's really nice that you can just keep your hobby, and you can still ride it. You know, ride your bike, and
you can even improve in your hobby. Like you can just even go further with it.
Yeah.
You can just try out more, just make more experiences, just enjoy it.
Yeah, maybe even with the money you earn, you can visit a course.
Yeah.
You know, in that event we were this weekend, you know, in Moto festival in Bern, there was this motorcycle course, where you could learn how to, you know, test your limits on, how do you say, Schräglage?
The lean.
Yeah, exactly, lean. So you could learn the lean, and that course is expensive, but maybe through renting out your bike, you can finance a course. You know,
for instance,
just one out of many cases.
But you could, like, there is always a reason. Like there is always. I spoke with some people in Germany that were even on the market for a new bike.
Yeah.
That then realized the service that you guys provide, and they were like, you know what, maybe I won't sell my old bike for very little money to the dealership. Maybe I just keep it. I rent it out, and with the money that I get from one bike, I can finance the second one.
Right.
Which does make sense. Like I mean, for me as a bike guy and as someone that just wants to ride and just try as many bikes as I can, it's like Disneyland. Yeah. I go to the website and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. So I think I'm gonna let you leave this cold place.
Oh god.
Nobody realizes how cold it is right now. Like, and I'm like wearing trousers with holes in it.
You even pull up your sleeves in the beginning. I was like, you're tough.
I know. So thank you a lot for giving this little explanation, letting us know a bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Lloyd, for being in your show, and thank you so much for being part of the team. It's been an amazing ride together already, and I'm so happy to have whatever's coming up next.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I don't know what's coming, but it's gonna be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you all for watching. I'm very sorry about probably a bit of a cut in the middle of that. But as I said, it's only going to get better. And thank you, Tsering.
Thanks so
It was
much.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Till next time.
Yeah, till next time.
Cool.